Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
The energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, reppin' both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire misunderstood. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline greens, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. Rob hype on the mic, CP's the fire spark. Together they ignite, voices like the park fans dripped in jerseys. Legacy bold, the Metropolitan story forever told. Turnstile spinning, the crowd floods the gates. This is family, no time for debates. Crack of the Batman, the roar never fades. Queens in the blood, it's how champions are made. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline gleams, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. 7-line swagger, vibes electric and wild. Mets legacy golden since I was a child. Orange crushed skies, let the battle ignite. Ride for the home team till the last fight.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel. How is everybody doing on this Labor Day game on this Monday? And we start September on the road for a 10-game road trip as the rosters do expand to 28 instead of 26. And we do have a couple of roster moves to talk about. And it does start with Luis Acuna added to this team. I know this gets Mets fans somewhat excited. Doesn't for me, to be quite honest with you, because it's just more people we're going to leave on the bench for most of the game. So, but that's okay. When you get 28 guys on the roster and they can add another pitcher as well, and that might determine what they're going to do with that 28th roster spot, depending on what they're going to do when it comes to the pitching, because you can add one pitcher and one position player. Obviously, the Mets added a position player in Luis Acuna, but Ronnie Mauricio is still on this team, and you do wonder where's the playing time coming from, right? Jeff McNeil has been playing well. Vientos has been playing well. Beatty's been playing well. Ronnie Mauricio doesn't play anymore. And Luis Acuna seems like he's up here for defensive purposes and a pinch runner. And when that's okay, I don't see the benefit of it, to be quite honest with you. But with the roster expanding, it's not that big of a deal, considering the fact that we can play who we need to play. And right now you have to play the hot hand, because the Mets did just lose 3 out of 4 against the Miami Marlins after sweeping the Phillies to begin the homestand. And that's the frustrating part as we begin here today with a little bit of a recap of the homestand. It was a disappointment. It started out so good. The momentum was on our side. And every little bit of momentum that the New York Mets had going into the Miami Marlins series is gone. Now, the Mets fully lost only 2 games the rest of the homestand after sweeping the Phillies, so technically we gain a full game on this homestand, but there isn't a lot of games to go. There's 25 games left to go, and after this road trip, we'll have 15 games to go. And in this road trip, as you see on your screen over here, for the upcoming series, we got the Reds after the Tigers, and right now we're only 4 games in front of the Reds. And I know a lot of people are confident the Mets are going to make the playoffs, and the Reds had opportunities to take full advantage of the Mets playing like crap over the last month or two. The Mets never relinquished their playoff spot. And even though that's a good sign, there's still a strong possibility the Mets can be going into that series with the Reds in full momentum. Now, they have to win as well while they need help as the Mets lose. But the Mets can't get ahead of themselves, because they're playing an excellent Tigers team that's 80-58. They're one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best team in baseball. They're a dangerous team. Now, we missed Tariq Skubal as he pitched yesterday, but they do have good pitching. We're facing Charlie Morton today, the ageless wonder. The Mets at times can hit him, And sometimes they don't hit him. We saw him with the Braves for many years where the Mets just looked lost at the plate against him. And that is something that the Mets have to figure out against a really not a good pitcher. And Charlie Morton is a guy that the Tigers did get at the deadline. He can be a sneaky good pitcher. And you always worry about those veterans, but with the Mets, and they didn't score a lot of runs yesterday, but when you scored 31 runs in the first 3 games of the Marlins series, you can be okay with not scoring a ton of runs in yesterday's game. Sandy Alcantara was an outstanding showing yesterday against the New York Mets, and that's where we are right now, unfortunately. Now we have Sean Manaea on the mound that I have no idea what we're going to get for him. This is what, start number 9, maybe 10 since the All-Star break, since he's come back. It's a huge problem because the New York Mets need one guy, and it doesn't look like it's going to be Senga. And we're all hoping that it's Sean Manaea because we've seen the grit, the confidence, the balls he had on the mound last year. And that's what we're hoping for yet again. And I have no confidence that he's going to be the pitcher he was last year. I said that from the day we talked about this season in March, that I had no confidence in Sean Manaea being what he was last year. I had no confidence in that. But I also never said he was going to be a terrible pitcher. You can't have a 7 ERA. I'm sorry, right? If you're injured, get off the mound. Let somebody else fill your spot. That's the other problem. That is the biggest problem that I have, is that, Kodai Senga said his body's not feeling right. His body's not, working together. Whatever the hell he said, that was all the excuses he needs to give me. If you're injured, don't pitch. I don't care who replaces you. The fact that you're not pitching well because you might be injured is a problem within itself. No, you're not getting brownie points from me, nor should you get brownie points from fans of the New York Mets because you're out there injured and still pitching. You're not helping this team. That is the problem that I have. The same thing goes for Sean Manaea. If you can't pitch, if you're in pain and you might feel like you're injured, don't get on the mound. So when you get on the mound, I assume you're healthy. Unless you feel something while you're pitching, then I'm assuming you're healthy. And that's it. That's all I'm going by. I'm going by you're healthy and you suck. Don't tell me after you sucked for 2 months, for almost a month and a half, that now you're going to say, oh, you're injured. I don't want to hear that nonsense. I really don't. You had opportunities to open your big mouth and say that you're injured. Let somebody take your spot that is healthy. Maybe that could have been an opportunity the last couple of weeks or at least the last 2 starts of Kodai Senga. If you're injured, we could have bought up Brandon Sprout. Not saying that Sprout would have pitched well, but at least you have somebody healthy on the mound. That is the issue that I have. So I don't want to hear any excuses from Kodai Senga, and I damn sure don't want to hear any excuses from Sean Manaea, who's making $20+ million this year. All right? I love how people love to bring up Soto and bring up Nimmo and all that money, and I do it too. But Sean Manaea has a lot to do with it too. This guy's getting $20 million, and he's barely pitched for this team, and since he's come back, he's pitched bad. So that is another wasted contract at the moment from Sean Manaea and from David Stearns. So it is a problem. It is a huge problem, and Manaea needs to show something today because with Mendoza's comments yesterday in the post-game interview about we're going to have a conversation about Senga and what we're going to do with him, there will be a conversation if Sean Manaea don't pitch well today because there is no reason why, and I would be okay with leaving Holmes in the rotation and putting Manaea in the bullpen. The only reason why I say that is because Holmes has actually got to a 5th inning and actually pitched serviceable. Manaea and Senga has not pitched serviceable at all. At all. Manaea is a 7 ERA. Senga's over a 6 ERA. At least Clay Holmes is serviceable at a 4.2 ERA. That's reasonable. So if I got to pitch him 4 or 5 innings and he gives me 3 runs or 4 runs or less in his start, I'll take that because Manaea and Senga have shown signs of blowing up in games where basically teams got to come back from 4 or 5 runs down every start that they pitch. I am not dealing with this stuff anymore. You can't deal with it if you're the New York Mets. Brandon Sproat should be up here and fill up one of those spots. You can help your bullpen a little bit by throwing Manaea in the bullpen. And Holmes has been serviceable enough to be in this rotation. And you got McLean and you got Tong. McLean is pitching in this series. Tong is pitching in the series against the Reds. So I'd rather do that. Yeah, I'm not giving a pass to Sean Manaea. I'm not giving a pass. We gave him 3 months off to rehab. I'm sorry. You're getting $20 million. If you're injured, don't pitch. Right? There was no. This is what, start 10 since the All-Star break. Like when are we gonna give him when are we not gonna give him a pass? When he's blowing games in the playoffs for us, or later in the year, later at the end of the month when we need to win ball games? There's no passes anymore. The passes were the first 2 to 3 starts. But it's been 9-10 starts now, and he still can't stretch out to the point where he needs to throw 95 pitches and get to the 6th inning. What pass? I don't want to pass. There's no passes. All right, you make it $20 million. If you're hurt, sit out. Don't waste our time. Because all you're doing is helping us lose. There is no pass. Why aren't you giving a pass to Senga? He came back the same time with injury. Right? No excuses. If you're injured, don't pitch. You on the mound, I assume you're healthy, and you got to perform. You're supposed to perform like a top 2 starter. You're getting paid like a top 2 starter. He is getting paid well overpaid the way he's pitched. He's pitched worse than Clay Holmes, who's making $11 million. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the excuses. There is no pass anymore. This isn't start number 3 after his rehab. This is start number 10 after his rehab. It's a long time ago. It's before the All-Star break he came back. There is no more excuses. There's no more passes. Because that's what we're going to do at the end of the year. We're going to give everybody excuses. We're going to give Senga excuses because Met fans, the media, and executives and managers love to give excuses to Senga at every moment of every day. Finally, Mendoza actually called Senga out for once, which is nice to see. So what, we're going to wait until we lose and the season's over and then say, well, we didn't have Manaea the whole year. He was injured. I told you from day one prior to signing Sean Manaea. It's a bad thing to do to sign Manaea and not have a backup plan of another top 2 starter. And you can never count on Kodai Senga like I told you. And now we counted on Kodai Senga, and then we put all our chips in Sean Manaea to be our top 2 starters. How had that worked out for the New York Mets? Right? How did that work out? As I said, Sean Manaea was a good addition with the addition of another top starter. Stearns didn't want to do that. That's Stearns' fault. Right? Yes, he acquired a lot of he had these guys on the roster like Kodai Senga. But there is no reason why that he had to agree with others that Kodai Senga is the top 2 pitcher, because last time I checked, it was 2 years ago that he was a good pitcher. And now that hitters and teams have a book on him, he does not know how to pitch. He has no adjustment in anything he does at all. And then we're trusting a guy to be a top 2 starter that can't go every 5th day because he still sucks doing that. And even when you give him extra rest, he's still not good enough. And this is a guy we're supposed to trust as a top 2 starter? I'm not. You want to, go ahead. You can jump off that ledge just like Kodai Senga is jumping off that ledge. I'm sick and tired of these guys getting excuses. I hear excuses from them. I hear excuses from fans. There was still fans a couple of months ago saying that Senga is an ace. Like, you are delusional. Sean Manaea was never an ace. If you wanted to believe him to be an ace, then you're a fool. You fell for the propaganda that Stearns spills to you. Because this was all David Stearns' rotation. All of it. Manaea bringing him back by himself was Stearns. Clay Holmes was Stearns. Frankie Montas was Stearns. There was options out there. You could have made a trade for a top 2 starter. You could have signed a top starter. You didn't want to do that. So now you lay in your bed of what you put together. And you know what? McLean and Tong and Sproat might be really good, but they might not be good enough to help us to what we need going into the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, because we still only 4 games up with 25 to play, and we have to play the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm not excited about this playoff situation. I am not. September should have been a casual, calm. The Mets are making the playoffs, no problem. But no, they have to make it interesting, and I blame a lot of it on Stearns. Do I blame the players? Absolutely. Senga's been here long enough to be better than this. The Mets shouldn't be, appeasing him and giving him all these rules and putting them in perfect situations. This is year 3 of being a major leaguer. I don't care if you were hurt last year. I don't care. That's a problem within itself. You signed, and this organization did sign Kodai Senga, knowing he has been injured in the past in Japan, and he's been noted as being injury prone. Why are we shocked by that? This is what we talked about when we were trying to sign him. Hey, he's had injuries in the past in Japan. Why do you think a couple of years older he's not going to get injured? And it's not arm injuries. It's all stupid injuries. Oh, I got to stretch to catch a ball. I pull my hamstring. It's something else last year that kept him out the entire season. Like, it's just amazing to me. Like the amount of excuses we give to Kodai Senga. But the only reason why we're giving excuses to Kodai Senga because he's making chump change. And right now, people are kind of hesitant of giving excuses or not giving excuses to Sean Manaea because, he was so good last year for 3.5 months. And, it was so fun that people are scared to criticize Sean Manaea and make excuses for him. I'm sorry. Isn't $20 million way too much from the performance we're getting right now? It's basically nearly almost a month and a half, nearly 9 to 10 starts from coming back. What excuses do we have to give him now? And you know what? Manaea has not given excuses. In any of his interviews, he's like, I got to do better. I know I have to do better. This team's counting on me. Sean Manaea has actually said that. Senga feels like, oh, my body this, my body that. Like, shut up. I don't want to hear that nonsense. You get more days off than anybody else in this rotation. Fix it. If you don't know what's going on with your body and you can't figure out what's the issue, then tell the Mets, hey, I'm not helping the team by starting in my next start. Let somebody else pitch in my next start and let me figure it out in the bullpen. But why would Senga do that? No, because he's got this high horse that he has so much control in his Mets organization that they do everything for him. And yet he still sucks. So no, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And you know what? Boogie Wee, wonderful. McLean's our ace. Does that excite you? Does that make you feel good? Because it doesn't for me. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I am not. Why? Because I feel like these kids are going to be good. But we're acting like Nolan McLean has pitched in the postseason before. Like this miraculous thing that, we all imagining that, oh my God, he's so good during the season. Why do we just assume they're going to be good in the playoffs? Boogie Woogie, that's the problem. That's all we got. That's the only hope we have. And what have I said before? And I'll say it again. Hope doesn't help you win. It's talent. And McLean has a lot of it. Tong has a lot of it. Hopefully Sproat does too. But we all just assume that these guys are going to be good in the biggest moments. Tong was fine, but we can't really judge Tong on his first start. The Mets basically scored 20 runs in that game. Like it was over before it even started. So you can't judge him when there was really no pressure on him. I mean, there was nothing. So in his next start against the Reds, when this team that you're facing is chasing you, and this is a huge game, that's going to be the judge of what he's going to do. McLean has been really good, and by no means am I saying that he passed living up to the hype. I mean, there was hype because we were desperate, But what we've seen is outstanding. But what if he has a bad start? What are you going to take a step back? You're going to be like, uh-oh, now who do we go to? Because he is facing one of the better teams in baseball in the Tigers tomorrow. So we all don't know. We all don't know how they're going to perform. We're living on hope than reality. And reality is we have no idea what McLean's going to be the next couple of starts for the rest of the season, nor the playoffs. Same thing goes for Jonah Tong. And if Sproat becomes a part of this, same thing goes to him. We saw David Peterson do it out of the bullpen last year, not as a starter. We saw Sean Manaea be outstanding, but does anybody have confidence in him? He hasn't shown anything, any signs of what he did last year. And Kodai Senga, I mean, he's wasting my breath. Because when the Mets tried to put Kodai Senga in this postseason, he was embarrassing. And he's been embarrassing ever since he's come back prior to the All-Star break. So, and Clay Holmes, I have no idea what we're going to get from him either. He's already well past his innings total. And he still has been serviceable, but you need better than serviceable in the postseason. And I don't believe that Clay Holmes is going to make a start in a wild card series. I think the top three guys is going to be McLean, Peterson, and Tong. Maybe Sproat, whoever pitching better. Like, that's the problem. That's the problem. And for anybody who says, don't worry, it's okay. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the hell happened, to be honest with you. Let me just get this together here. Sorry, guys. I have to use my other camera for a second. Definitely technical difficulties for sure. I am sorry about that. I don't know what the hell's going on right now. Once I get my camera back up, my good camera, I'm using my laptop camera, which is always shitty. I'm sorry about that. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm talking. I'm looking at the camera. And all of a sudden, I look down. And I'm like, wait, I'm not talking to nobody. What the hell's going on? So I do apologize about that. Just give me a second. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what's going on, guys. I apologize for this. Give me a minute, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on. Woo. Very sorry about that. I don't know what the hell's going on. You hear me. That's good. But you don't see me. Yeah, Stearns definitely got me hacked. I'm trying to figure it out, guys. I apologize for that. I don't know what the hell's going on. Give me a second, guys. We're going to figure this out. I promise. Oh, wait. Am I here? I think I might be here. Hey, all right. We're looking better. All right. I look normal. Not really, but all right. We're good enough. All right. I don't know. Maybe the Wi-Fi might have kicked me off or something. I have no idea. But as I was saying, the big thing is here is that we can talk about McLean all we want. We can talk about Tong all we want. And we possibly could talk about Sproat all we want. But that is all hope. Sean Manaea is hope. Senga is hope. Clay Holmes is hope. Again, I'm going to do another poll. And I'm pretty sure that most people will say Nolan McLean as the game one starter in the postseason. The same people that said Nolan McLean to be game one starter was the same people that were saying David Peterson 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So I think that is the major problem. And I am going to put another poll up there today on my community page, so look out for that during the game. But I just don't feel very confident in a rotation that has a ton of question marks, including the young kids. Even though they looked good, I don't feel that confidence that even I felt last year with Luis Severino, Jose Quintana, Sean Manaea. I felt confident in those guys. I don't have no confidence in Sean Manaea turning it around. Luis Severino isn't here, and Jose Quintana isn't here. And David Peterson came out of the bullpen in the postseason and didn't start. And now he's going to be a starter in this postseason. I'm not excited about it. I feel very underwhelmed with this rotation. So I wish I was giving you better news, but I'm not going to lie to you guys and say I feel confident in this because I don't. I really don't. And I'm hoping that Minaya shows something today. Like, do I want him to throw 7 innings of no runs? Sure, but is that even realistic? I mean, it should be, considering you're giving him $20 million, considering that he is your ace of the staff. But I just don't. I'd rather just get a solid. Give me something. Give me something that I can take into your next start, which will be in Philadelphia. So, I mean, we're probably going to get mostly everybody that we need to in that 4-game series against the Phillies, but that's, a while away. That's the end of the road trip. McLean should be available. Did we get an off day on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken? And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is Cincinnati. So we should be, I think Nolan McLean's going to get the end of the Cincinnati series, if I'm not mistaken, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He should get one of the games in Cincinnati. So we might see Tong and McLean in that Cincinnati series. The only thing is we might miss both, and we might not be able to use McLean and Tong in the Philly series because I think they would pitch both games in the Red series. So that might be interesting. We might have, again, we're going to have David Peterson. We're going to have Holmes. We're going to have Minaya. And maybe Sproat if they decide to bring him up. So I'm frustrated, guys. I'm not very excited what this team has showed me. And I'm annoyed, as you guys could probably tell. But let's get into the game today when it comes to Charlie Morton. Look, Charlie Morton is the ageless wonder. He's in his, mid-40s, early 40s. And, the Tigers did pick him up. He's been okay. So the Mets got to beat up on Charlie Morton. Like, I don't expect Sean Manaea to be very good. Can he be serviceable? Can he give me 5 innings of 3-4 runs or less? Like, I mean, I'm saying that and it's annoying me, but I would take that. The Mets have to score at least 5 runs in this game. And Charlie Morton, you should be able to beat up on Charlie Morton. It's just that I think the Tigers are going to beat up on Sean Manaea. So, luckily for us, the Phillies did lose. The Reds did gain a game on this. But, again, both are in striking distance. I don't care what anybody says. Both are, the Phillies are still in striking distance only because the Phillies, been okay, been pretty decent, to be honest. I think they should have ran away with this division 2 weeks ago, and they didn't. So do I think they're going to just run away now? No, I just don't. They're playing the Brewers. That could be interesting. The Brewers want to get the best record in baseball, so they have home field throughout the playoffs if they get that far. And I still think the Phillies have, the Phillies didn't play well. Their defense is still not good. Their pitching is still up in the air. And I still believe if you shut down Schwarber, the Phillies have problems scoring. So they're not perfect. And if you find a way, because the Mets have an opportunity here in this 10-game road trip. They have an opportunity to bury the Reds. And they also have an opportunity to be within striking distance when you get the Philly for that 4-game series to end the road trip. So the Mets, once again, have everything right in front of them. They can control having a very interesting end of road trip where they bury the Reds, so you can probably push them to the side. And you can get close enough to the Phillies where you're going into Philadelphia within striking distance of that division. Now, am I confident in that? No. But the Mets are very unique this year. We have no idea what this team is. They're Jekyll and Hyde. That's what they are. Would anybody be shocked? They win 2 out of 3 against the Tigers and look good, and then they get swept by the Reds, and then they'll win 3 out of 4 against the Phillies, would anybody be shocked by that? No. But if that does happen, like I say it's going to happen, you're probably not going to make enough dent to be close enough to the division with 15 games to go after this road trip, and you're still going to have the Reds within somewhat a decent number where in 15 games you should be able to handle the Reds for the rest of the season, but it's not going to be anything, determining that you're going to make a playoff spot. So I wouldn't be shocked by that. So I hope so. And David, I find it very hard to believe that the Tigers are going to get swept by the Mets and the Brewers are going to sweep the Phillies. Look, that's wishful thinking. And listen, I hope you're right. I think that would be awesome. But, with the pitching matchups we got going here in this series, you got Manaea and Holmes and you got McLean in the middle for tomorrow. I hope you're right. I really do. Like, I love your positivity. I like the confidence, but I'm just not confident. I'm just not. And it has nothing to do with the Phillies, has nothing to do with the Reds. It has everything to do with the Mets, because the Mets can do so much damage. They had the opportunity to do that damage at home against the Marlins while you just swept Philly and you took one game the rest of the homestand against the Marlins. That does not spill out confidence for me. And it sucks. Really does suck. And I'm annoyed by it. But you can't change the past. All you got is today. In about 25 minutes or so, you face the Tigers. Great. Hopefully Sean Manaea figures it out, because let's make no mistake about it, guys. The Mets need Sean Manaea. Regardless if it's in the bullpen, down the stretch, or as a rotation guy, they need Sean Manaea. Make no mistake about it. Where is this rotation going if Sean Manaea isn't a part of it? Or where is this pitching staff going if Sean Manaea is not a part of it? You can talk about McLean all you want. You can talk about Tong. Peterson hasn't been the same for a month. Manaea hasn't been good since he's been back. And you're relying on McLean, Tong, and Holmes for this rotation to survive. Good luck with that. Because as much as I think McLean's a good pitcher, and Tong looks like he's on his way. But, again, nobody can give me any evidence that these guys will be good in the playoffs, because they have not done it. And there's always surprises. There's always, we've seen DeGrom do it. We've seen Harvey do it in the postseason. But are those guys there yet? Are those guys at that level yet? We don't know that yet. We really don't. What happens when McLean does get hit in the mouth? And what if he gets beaten up by the Tigers tomorrow? What are we going to say then? What we're going to say is, you know what? He probably was going to have a bump in the road. He had it yesterday or today or tomorrow. But what's more important is, does he bounce back? Because everybody's going to get hit around. There's not one pitcher in baseball that has not got hit around. If McLean gets hit around tomorrow, I want to see what he does in his next outing. Because if he looks bad again and gets hit around again, now we're very much in trouble. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. But we also got to realize and come back to reality a little bit that that's a possibility. Because too many people think these guys are basically, immortals and they're gods and nothing's going to touch them. But when they do get hit, how do they bounce back? Because it ain't about that game where they might get hit around. It's about the bounce back. We talk about that all the time, where if you don't pitch well, all right, that happens. Every pitcher goes through it. But it's the next start. Do you bounce back and perform like you were doing prior when you were helping this team win? That's the important thing. Sure, Boogie Woogie, but you know what? David Peterson looked perfect in July, didn't he? And now he has a 6 ERA. So, yeah, it can happen. I don't care how perfect you are. You're still a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Yes, he can get hit. The other team is trying too. And Patrick, it's a good example. He bounced back, but he was in the bullpen. So I'm not going to kill the kid and take anything for that. He's been good as a starter. And I think we will see Sprota. When? I couldn't tell you. Stearns has no urgency. So I couldn't tell you. But do I feel like McLean? I think McLean can still get hit around a little bit, but still manage the game to the point where it still gives the Mets a chance to win. And that was what David Peterson was doing. When David Peterson didn't have it, he would still give you 5 innings and keep the team in the ball game. He hasn't done that as of late, but that's what Peterson was doing. I think Nolan McLean can keep a team in the ball game, and that's all you can ask for when you're having a bad outing, is give the team an opportunity to come back and win. You don't give up a 5 spot or a 6 spot and say, oh, well, the Mets lost because they didn't score runs. Like, are you kidding me? Like yesterday, we had to score 6 runs yet again. It would be nice if we can win a 3-2 ball game. That once again, it ain't against the rules. The Mets are clearly allergic to giving up less than 3 runs or less than 4 runs. That would be nice for once, other than Nolan McLean and Jonah Tong. So we'll see. The Tigers lineup is good. I mean, when you got Javier Baez, who's having a resurgence this year, batting 9th, it's a good lineup. It is. Torkelson's having a really good year. We talked about him in the offseason. Gleyber Torres is a totally different player than what we've seen from the Yankees. Gleyber Torres. Green, pretty good. Perez, pretty good. I mean, they got a good lineup. Really good lineup. David, well, you know what? When you have an 80-58 record, it's kind of hard for the New York Mets lineup to be better. Sorry. I know you want to bring that positivity, but come on. This team has 80 wins. They're 7 games better than the New York Mets, at least in the win total. So, the lineup, I guess you can say from top to bottom, sure, yeah, but there's more guys in the Detroit Tigers lineup that had better seasons, that are having better seasons, to be honest with you. But I think it's very close. Let's put it that way. Let's make it somewhat even, because I do think the bottom of the order is better than the Mets bottom of the order. I think the Mets lineup is good. Oh, David, I don't want to hear about Acuna. Acuna's never playing. All right, he's never starting. Just so everybody knows this, Luisano Acuna is your defensive replacement and pinch runner. That's what he is. He's not playing. Let's get that through our heads. He still doesn't hit in AAA. And he's not going to hit at the major leagues. All right? We've seen this already. All right? Luisano Acuna isn't better than Jeff McNeil. He's not better than Brett Beatty. He's not better than Mark Vientos. So where is he playing? You got Cedric Mullins and Tyron Taylor in center field. Acuna is not playing in center field. Luisano Acuna, great. Ronnie Mauricio has speed. Great. We got another one of those guys. We do realize that the New York Mets steal bases at will, right? They're one of the best teams in percentage of stolen bases. So what is that speed going to do for us? Seriously. Half the guys in this lineup can score from second. Luisano Acuna isn't changing that. No, Luisano Acuna is not better than Mullins. Luisano Acuna has established nothing at the major league level. Cedric Mullins has been an established major leaguer for years. For the last 6 years. Cedric Mullins is not very good, but let's not act like Acuna is better, because he's not. He's not. Sorry. Acuna has established nothing in the major leagues. All right? He's got quick feet. That's it. Yeah, Mullins doesn't get on base, but Luisano Acuna doesn't get on base either. He has a low on-base percentage and a low batting average. What is that speed doing for anybody if you're starting him? He's basically Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins has good speed, but he doesn't get on base. He doesn't have a high batting average. He's basically Cedric Mullins, but younger. Yeah, Boogie Woogie, that's wrong too. He did get playing time. Do we all forget? He was given the second base job, and Brett Beatty was sent down. Luisano Acuna was our second baseman. Even when Jeff McNeil came back, the Mets wanted to put McNeil in center field because Luisano Acuna had second base. You know what Luisano Acuna did? The same thing Mark Vientos did. Lost his job. Sorry, I'm not giving any credit for a guy who lost his job. He had enough playing time. He lost the second base job. You know why? Because he couldn't hit. That speed that was starting in the lineup every day was non-existent because he didn't get on base. He still doesn't get on base. He was in the minor leagues for what, a month and a half? His on-base percentage went up a tad. His average went up a little bit. Not enough to warrant him starting every day. Who are you starting him over? David, I'm not wrong. Facts are facts. Look at the stats. Don't tell me I'm wrong when I'm right. You're not looking at the facts. You're obsessed with this prospect that has not been good, who's been underwhelming since he's called up on opening day. He helped the Mets last year. You know who else helped the Mets last year? Many other guys. Mark Vientos helped his team last year. He didn't help us for 120 games this year. Now he's finally figured it out. It could be too late. So let's not act like it's amazing. Why do we care about last year? Nobody cares about last year. Alonso sucked last year, but he's good this year. Should we take Alonso from last year? We don't care about last year. Luisano Acuna is very young. Do I think he can be a serviceable major leaguer? Yes. But not what the Mets currently have. That's it. We should be playing a Mauricio. Over who? Brett Beatty? No. McNeil? No. Mauricio can't play the outfield. We've tried that experiment in the outfield, and he wasn't good. He made 4 errors in the outfield, and they tried him in center and left field. Disaster. That's why he plays everywhere but shortstop, which is his natural position. Luisano Acuna, could he play center field? Yes. But he's probably not going to hit more than Tyrone Taylor nor Cedric Mullins because he's shown no signs of doing that. And Tyrone Taylor's probably a little less faster than Luisano Acuna, but he's got more than enough speed, and you're not playing Tyrone Taylor. You're not playing Acuna over Tyrone Taylor in center field. There's too much of a question mark with Luisano Acuna. You're not playing Ronnie Mauricio over Vientos. You're nuts. You're not. Not the way Vientos is hitting right now. Mauricio hasn't shown any signs of hitting either. He's going to be sent down in a few days. I guarantee you that. And I told you why Mullins is playing 3 games in a row. Nobody wants to believe me. I don't agree with it, but I've been telling you what the Mets are thinking. Nobody wants to hear it. Everybody just wants to think that I'm the bad guy. I'm telling you what the Mets are doing with Cedric Mullins. David, every prospect has potential. That's why they're prospects. Every prospect has potential. I'm sick of potential. We need guys who perform. Mauricio doesn't. He was getting the third base job every day when Vientos wasn't hitting. He failed. He even lost that position. Luisano Acuna got second base in May. And he failed. Stop with this potential bullshit. There's 25 games to go to make the playoffs. There's no time to figure out what these guys are. We don't have time for this bullshit. We don't. They did give Mauricio a chance. He also lost the third base job. They were giving it to him. They brought him up because he was so hot in AAA that you couldn't leave him there. And they played him. And he still failed. He struck out a ton. He didn't walk. He swung at everything. And he lost his spot. Stop giving guys positions who don't deserve it. Acuna doesn't deserve it. Mauricio doesn't deserve it. Vientos is finally deserving playing time because he's hitting. Beatty has deserved it. McNeil has deserved it. Look at Vientos now. He's been fine. He's not going to hit 4 home runs a game. I know everybody wants that, but he's not hitting 4 home runs a game. He's still putting really good at-bats together. No, Mauricio's a joke. Mauricio needs more time in the minor leagues. Unfortunately, guys need actually more time. Acuna has done nothing special in AAA to warrant coming back up here. He's another guy that's going to sit on the bench, that's going to get pinch run appearances and defensive replacement situations. That's what he's here for. He's not playing every day because he doesn't hit. He's not playing over anybody in this lineup. He's just not. You can't trust him in center field when you have Tyrone Taylor on this team. Tyrone Taylor is hitting better than Mullins, and Acuna is not technically a center fielder. He can probably play it serviceable, but you're not putting him in the lineup over Tyrone Taylor. You're just not doing it. David Mauricio is going to be O'Neal Cruz. Great. Let me know when he becomes that, because he's not it right now. And you can't play him when you're trying to save a postseason spot. Like, this isn't April, guys. David, great. Let Acuna be great with the Pirates. I don't care. He's not great now. Everybody's great, David. Everybody's great. Vientos, great. Beatty, great. Acuna, great. Mauricio, great. Yet, they've shown none of it. None of them. None of them. David, you can't give prospects a chance when you're trying to win and make the playoffs. There's no time for this shit. There isn't. We're in September. We got 25 games to go. Where are you waiting for these guys? What chance are you giving these guys? Because if they fail and you don't make the playoffs, what are you going to say? Hey, look at the prospects. I don't give a fuck. I'm so sick of these prospects. I don't want none of them. None of them done anything for us. Vientos did it last year. He's starting to come on now. Great. Beatty has been pretty decent. Nothing special, but he's been pretty decent. Better than what we currently had. I'm sick and tired of all these prospects. Because great, we're going to have Jet Williams up next year too. What is he going to do? Probably just like all these other guys. Because none of them, Ronnie Mauricio, according to David, is O'Neal Cruz. Luis Acuna is his brother. Vientos is the next coming of David Wright. All these guys. Yet they've never showed enough. They're the reason why we are here. 4 games in front of the wild card and 6 games back of the Phillies. They're the problem. Because if they weren't on this roster, Mendoza wouldn't have to feel obligated to play these guys certain times and platoon in all these guys. What do you want to do? Sit Jeff McNeil for Ronnie Mauricio? Great. How that's going to look? You know what? Let's sit Tyrone Taylor and Mullins, throw them to the bench, let Acuna play. Why not? Who cares if we lose? Who cares? I'm sick of it. Yeah, Nolan McLean. You know why he's pitching in this rotation? Do you understand that, David? You understand why McLean is pitching in this rotation, right? Because we have guys that suck and guys who are injured. That's why. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. The rotation could still suck. If these guys were healthy, McLean wouldn't be here. The same thing goes for Tom. So there was a need for McLean and Tom because there's holes in this rotation. There is no holes in this lineup. You just said you like the lineup. So why do you want Mauricio and Acuna in this lineup? You just said we have a better lineup than the Tigers. So why do you care about the lineup? There isn't enough holes to play these kids. If you're going to play these kids, that means you got to take all the bumps and bruises of them struggling. You don't have time for that with 25 games to go, and you're still fighting for a playoff spot. That's the problem. This isn't April. You wanted to play stupid games in April and even May? Great. But you can't do that down the stretch. You just can't. You don't have time for that. You can't have time for that. Well, David, you just answered my question. You just answered your own question. Why is McLean here? Because Senga sucks. Because Manaea sucks. Because you have injuries. So there's a need. There isn't a need in this lineup. We're scoring 7.5 runs per ball game. Why are you changing a lineup when they're scoring runs? And that also involves Cedric Mullins, by the way. The lineup is scoring 7 runs per ball game over the last month. Why are you changing it? Mauricio and Acuna are going to love that bench, and they're going to pinch run and get very sporadic playing time. If you don't like it, then become a Yankee fan. They're playing all their kids. How's Jason Dominguez doing? Playing great. Become a Yankee fan. David, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But you already got Tong here. You already got McLean here. You don't have enough guys in this rotation to take out Kodai Senga, even if you bring up Sproat. That's the problem. Like, the lineup is fine. Once again, Cedric Mullins is not going to determine how well this lineup is. You're nuts if you think so. You're just nuts. It's not a difference maker. We've been scoring 7 runs per ball game, even with Mullins in the lineup. How much better do you want? David, I don't think so. You might believe that, but I don't think so. Our prospects have been very underwhelming. If you don't believe that, you're freaking nuts and you're not paying attention. Mauricio sucks right now. Do I think he's going to be good? Yes, but you don't have time to figure that out when you're trying to make the playoffs. Mauricio needs to be in AAA figuring things out. The same thing for Acuna. You got the extra roster spot, so fine. Acuna's up here. But don't think he's playing every day. He is not. Beatty and Vientos are playing because they're hitting. No other reason. Acuna and Mauricio are not. Mauricio hit in AAA. He's not hitting at the major league level when he got the third base job when he came up. Because Vientos wasn't hitting and Vientos wasn't playing. It was Mauricio playing. He could not hit. Same thing goes for Acuna. They gave him the second base job. Who cares about his speed if he can't get on base? He was striking out and not walking. 2 things you would like to have if you have that speed. He wasn't doing that. Now, can Acuna help this team on the base path? Absolutely. Now, when Luis Torrens gets on base and later in the game, you don't want him running. You'll put Acuna in. That makes sense. So that can help us. I want to win. I don't care how Acuna helps us win. If it's only as a pinch runner, great. David, I don't want to give Acuna a chance because there's no time for that. Next year, you want to give him a chance? Put him in spring training. If he earns a job, I'm happy. But stop giving these guys jobs that they don't deserve. This is not April. Give him a chance in April. They did. They gave him a chance in May. They did. He failed. Too bad. Next in line. Mauricio, same thing. He played third base every day. The majority of the time when he didn't play third base, he was playing second base. And he played almost every day when Vientos wasn't hitting it and Beatty wasn't hitting. He failed. Great. Next. The problem is Vientos is hitting. Beatty is playing better. Tyrone Taylor is actually hitting. McNeil is actually playing good. You're not taking those guys out of the lineup every single day. Now, Mullins is in the lineup again. Again, I'm not a fan of it. Beatty and Mauricio aren't alike because Beatty's been really good for us. Beatty has won more games for this team than Mauricio. And look at the at-bats. They're very similar. Beatty doesn't even have 500 at-bats. And he put up better numbers than most of the guys that play the same position. So think of that for a second. Beatty didn't get a ton of playing time. Beatty, prior to playing every day, he had less than 300 at-bats. Yet he's putting up the numbers he's done. So what's that problem? Mauricio might be better, but he's not better right now. That's the problem. David, if you don't understand that, then stop watching baseball because you're wasting everybody's time. Speed and arm. Speed and arm doesn't equate to hitting. The speed is pointless if you don't hit. If you don't get on base, Mauricio, same thing with Acuna. The speed means absolutely nothing. Beatty should not be sent down. You're nuts, David. David, please, just go away. I can't. You just got to stop. You're wasting everybody's time. You really are. Like, you just don't understand that these guys don't perform and you want them to play with 25 games to go. I think Mauricio is going to be very good. But he also got to prove it. Acuna, the same thing. You can't sit McNeil to play Acuna. For what? What has Acuna done to deserve any of that? Same thing goes for Mauricio. Mauricio was just as bad as Vientos, but Vientos started to hit. Same thing goes for Beatty. You're wasting everybody's time with that nonsense. Bring that shit to somebody else. I don't want to hear it. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense with the prospects. None of them have done what they're supposed to do. I don't like the Mets roster construction because you can't play them every day. That is the Mets' fault because you got too many positions already taken. That's why you should have traded them. But God forbid you do that for better players. That's it. Mauricio should have been traded. Acuna should have been traded. Because I can guarantee you, not one of these guys are going to be in the starting lineup in 2026. I'm telling you that right now. Could they be on the roster? Possibly. But you're back to square one again. Because now Jet Williams is going to be a part of that conversation now as well. So congratulations. Now you have more of a logjam. Because if Vientos continues to hit, he's going to be a third baseman, or at the very least, your DH next year. Brett Beatty, if he continues to hit, he's going to be a third baseman next year. Now, we can have a conversation about second base, but we all know Jet Williams, if he performs, is probably going to be better than Mauricio and Acuna. But we don't know that. So you give everybody the chance to win it in spring training. And we'll talk about that next year. But with this game today, the Mets better wake the fuck up. I'm sick of Sean Manaea and having his 7 ERA. You're getting $20 million a year. Pitch like one. Pitch like a top 2 starter that the Mets said to everybody, you are. I don't believe you are, but you're getting paid like one, so do it. Get the job done. You're playing look, there's no excuses today. You're not playing the lowly Miami Marlins. Don't the Mets play up to that competition? Well, you can't have better competition than the Detroit Tigers, one of the best teams in baseball. So get the job done. Sean Manaea, pitch like you're getting paid. The lineup has been doing what they need to do. I expect them to continue that. You're facing Charlie goddamn Morton. Score runs. Win a goddamn ball game. With that said, I'll see you on the post game with my boy Chris. Let's go Mets, guys. The game starts in about 10 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day if you don't come on to the post game show. Enjoy the game. Let's go Mets, guys, and I'll see you on the post game show, guys.
Seven train rumble, headed to the field. Orange and blue vibes, the energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, repping both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire, miss.